Morning, everyone. Welcome to the Ellis County Commission meeting, Tuesday, June 2nd, 2026. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if the clerk could call a roll, please.
Commissioner Nathan Liker,
Here.
Chair Neil Younger,
Present.
Commissioner Michael Burgess.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. Order of business stays the same unless anybody's got any.
Yep.
Okay. Prior minutes, has everybody had a chance to look at them?
Yes, prior minutes look good.
Okay. The consent agenda,
I'll move to approve consent agenda items A through G.
Second.
okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, and then issues from people not on the order of business. Okay. All right, the introduction of new employees and promoted employees, Darren.
I'll take care of this one today since Jennifer is off, but we have several departments here with some new employees. They're either new employees or some promoted employees, and looks like Danita's up first since she's eager. EMS, Public Works, and Communications Departments.
Good morning, Danita Schrader,
Morning.
Director EBMS.
Morning.
I have Trey Woolsey with me. He's a new EMT since December, January, somewhere in there. He fills our last full-time position, so now we are full-time staff.
Good deal. Well, welcome aboard.
Yeah, welcome.
Morning, gentlemen. Jeff Ridgway, Director of Communications. With me today is Sabrina Matais. We're really excited to have her with us full-time. We're down to 2 positions still to fill, but we're really excited. She's been with us about 2 weeks now and already looking very excited to have her as part of our team. So thank you.
Good deal. Well, welcome.
Thank you, welcome.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Brendan McKay, Ellis County
Morning.
Public Works Director. So alongside me here, I've got Kevin Fonensteel, our newly promoted truck lead. Brett Stokes, our heavy equipment operator, is going to be taking over territory out south central part of the county. And then Chet Rudman, our construction lead.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, next is the K-Camp Risk Management Award.
Good morning, Commissioners. Darren Myers, County Administrator. In attendance at the meeting this morning is Mr. Patrick Smith from K-Camp. He is here today to discuss with you the progress that the county has made within the Safety Committee for the Risk Management Award. And I'll let him speak, and then I'll follow up with some information on the Safety Committee.
Morning. Thank you for having me this morning. My name is Patrick Smith. I am the risk manager at K-Camp. For those of you that don't know what K-Camp stands for, it's Kansas Counties Association Multi-Line Pool. And we insure most of the counties across the state of Kansas for property and liability coverage. And we'd like to personally recognize and congratulate all of our members that meet the criteria for our Risk Management Achievement Award, which awards our members for meeting a set number of risk management criteria that may include having a risk management committee that meets on a quarterly basis, conducting facility inspections, roofing inspections, and providing documentation for cybersecurity, things of that nature. And Ellis County is one of the members that has met that criteria. And we know you can't prevent all property loss and liabilities from occurring, but we do appreciate the steps that Ellis County has taken in order to reduce the risk of property loss and liability. So we would like to present this check in the amount of $12,012.23 as an appreciation for your continued membership with K-Camp and the efforts in minimizing the cost of coverage, not only for Ellis County, but for K-Camp members as a whole. We appreciate your due diligence and all the staff that helped to organize a lot of the training, the meetings, and inspections in order to receive this award. We also have a letter in here that covers a lot of the criteria that was met and some of the criteria that wasn't met that may help you to receive a higher award in the future. Guys have any questions for me?
Out of all the counties, how many counties usually receive such award or awards like this?
Well, we have over 80, we have 83 counties and only 13 participated in this award. So you're one of 13 counties that actually received this award. Previously, we had 11 counties. Before that, we only had 5 to 7. And so it's starting to increase slowly. But this year we only had 13, and you guys are one of 13 that actually received that award.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So,
Any more questions?
Aaron, your comment?
So just as an update on that, from 2025 to 2026, as Mr. Smith said, it's just over $12,000 this year. The previous years, based on budget restrictions, et cetera, and the number of people, our risk management award was less, which was only about $4,766. So it's quite a bit of an increase. Each year we use these funds to reimburse the county's expense for the employee management learning tool that we assign safety courses to, but there's also a lot of professional development or training for Excel, Word, wide range, sexual harassment, just having difficult conversations, just a wide range of things for all employees to have access to. But the safety committee itself, I think, are the ones that need to be recognized for getting this work, because without them and their effort to attend the meetings, this wouldn't be, I guess it wouldn't really be possible, but it probably wouldn't be as well done. Jennifer Taylor, our HR manager, coordinates the committee to schedule regular meetings, which is one of the criteria that Mr. Smith has to meet. We have to have certain people within the organization attend the meetings regularly. If they don't, they have to have representatives there. There's training. The safety committee does our annual in-service day that we do in October every year. That all county staff attend. I believe this year, it might even be K-Camp is coming out to do, or K-Work, one of the two is coming out to do the driver safety course again, which helps our insurance, but also helps the employees get personal discounts on their insurance. They do building inspections. It's quite a range of things, and then the jail has to do certain things, have to meet certain standards, have certain policies. We have to have policies and regularly update them. So it's a lot of work, but the members of that safety committee, some of them are here, but Brendan McKay, Kristen Morales, Danita Schrader, myself, Eugene Rupp, Greg Herbert, Jennifer, which I've mentioned, Shelby Greavy, Travis West, Tara Clement, Scott Morgan, Lau Panel, and Ty McCullough. So a wide range for almost most of the departments in the county attend the meetings every quarter. So, and I'll also answer any questions if the commission has anything.
I would just say if the committee members that are in here, if they would stand, please, because that is a big accomplishment. I mean, from 4,000 to 12,000. So thank you very much for doing that. So you forgot to stand.
thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
If the commission is okay, I'd like to get a picture with Mr. Smith so we can put you in the K-Camp newsletter as well as the county newsletter.
Okay.
Great. 1, 2, 3.
Laser. Leave the money, please.
Thanks for coming back.
All right.
Sorry, I didn't have my lotto check.
Okay. Next is the Tallgrass Solar Development.
As we continue on with the Tallgrass project, paperwork and process of getting to where we're at today, the whole kind of agenda outlines where we started back in December from receiving the conditional use permit application and all the attached documentation and everything with the Planning and Zoning Committee, which reviewed that and gave recommendations to the county commission towards the end of the year and in the beginning of this year, which included the public notification, public comment period, and protest period. Since then, the commission has had several meetings to discuss it, as well as the project and how to move forward with the attached documentation through meetings here, public comment, individual meetings, as well as executive sessions with Mr. Jeter and Folston out of Wichita, and kind of gotten us to the May 19th, which was 2 weeks ago to today. The commission's intention was to always, once the documents were finalized and ready to be on the agenda, they would always be on the agenda twice. So that way they would be on the agenda for everybody to see, read, understand, ask questions, come to the meeting, call, email, visit with the commissioners. And then at the following meeting, it would be on the agenda again for a potential vote, which kind of lands us to where we're at today. And this, as a reminder, due to the protest petition back at the beginning of the year and the public comment piece, for this to pass, it does take the vote, obviously, but it does take a unanimous vote of 3-0 to pass. And if it's a 2-1 vote or anything else, the CUP would not push forward, as well as limit the application for another year to be able to be approved. So I guess with that, is there any questions for myself or the process or the documents?
I've seen one new face come in. I don't know if you want on the list. Nope. Okay.
With that, I'll turn it over to the commission on how you want to proceed with any other final public comment or thoughts, or if you need to have members of IBB are here. Robin, Stephen, and Pat are all here as well to answer any final questions or anything else that you may have for them.
Okay. As Darren said, when you go up to the podium, please state your name clearly so we can get the minutes right. You're going to be limited to 3 minutes, and there'll be a timer on the computer so everybody can tell it. And I know probably some of it's going to be repetitive, but if you can hold that back, then we'd appreciate that. So I guess we'll start at the top of the list here. And if Mr. Mike Worth would like to come up.
And just for everyone's knowledge, I'll be taking notes here for myself. I'm going to withstand from answering or replying to any direct questions until the end, until everybody has had a chance to speak that wishes to. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and I don't know about my fellow commissioners, so I will respond at the end.
Okay. Mike Worth, 605 200th Avenue. Have questions about the proposed solar farm. I guess to start it off is there's already, outside of the initial Bedford Barnes land, they have been trying to lease up ground surrounding it before this is even approved. So I guess my question is, if this is approved, to move on to additional property to be added to this solar farm, would this be able to be protested, or is this going to be protected under the current lease agreement, which you guys are deciding on? That's one of them. The other one would be if they're going to be adding additional capacity, more panels. Because they stated earlier that battery storage was not going to be not even looked at, that they're going to be going right into the grid, where if they're going to be expanding beyond that, there will be. There has to be, for it to be efficient, to have that. So should these permits for the battery storage be done now or later on? Because it just seems like there's a lot of stuff that could have been put together with this that might be amended or added on to later. And I don't think that's quite what people sign up for sometimes, especially with a 35-year deal. I mean, who's going to own it after your 10 years? You know, after the 10 years of tax abatement, you know, who's going to own it and what exactly is going to happen? Okay. So I'm going to kind of change course a little bit. So you guys have, the commissioners, I'm not sure all of you have, but you have went out and looked at the property site. I think you've kind of seen the topographical issues that are coming with it, as far as oil and disposal lines, an actual oil production line. Now, I'm already over? Really? Wow. Okay,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Finish the thought.
just a quick one. With the power driving of these posts in here and what's gonna happen with all these salt water disposal lines. We've already, I mean, I just was at our rural water district meeting here earlier this year. And we're already at, and Pete's here, so he'd be able to tell you for sure, but we're at like a 30% water loss. We don't know where it's going. Well, a lot of these lines, I think, and this is personally what I think, back when the oil was really kicking in and they were doing all the 3D all the thumping, we had a lot of these lines crack. And it's just hard to find them all. They've had a heck of a time, but I mean, if they don't get that under control, I mean, there's a possibility they could, our water district, you know, Trigo County could say, hey, you guys are not efficient with your water. You know, we got problems with this. So you know, we're beside a rural water line here on this one too. So I'm just saying this might pop up as an issue later. And as far as the liability of this, who's this going to be under? Is this going to be under the county, the property owner, the oil companies when these leaks occur? So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next, Keith Fonestill.
Keith Still 974 Mount Pleasant Road. I think you guys all received my response yesterday via online anyway, and I just want to make public my response. So I brought one for each of the commissioners and the clerk to have this on record that this is my public notice set of what my objections are, concerns, in response to the county, because you're never going to cover everything in 3 minutes anyway, but this way it is public record. With that, I'm just gonna leave my response to the commissioners to see, and it is exact what you would have received yesterday. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the list is Doug Williams.
Good morning, Doug
Morning.
Williams,
morning.
Executive Director of Grow Hayes. I appreciate you giving me a minute or two to talk about this. I'll keep it under 3, I'm pretty sure. I'm not qualified to make judgments as to some of the things that these guys are talking about, but I do believe I am qualified to talk about the economic impact of a project like this, and it's significant. I mean, if you look at the pilot, I did a little quick math. The money that they would pay in a pilot each year equates to about 440 homes at the Hayes valuations, and what the property taxes 440 homes would pay to the county and to the school district. Significant. The economic impact of the build out. We've seen what that does a little bit with the school district improvements and the build out that has occurred. The economic impact it has had to our community is huge. I mean, people who come here who do the work, they stay here, they rent rooms or rent apartments or hotel rooms, they eat meals, they buy things, big impact. And then the ongoing impact of, I believe it's 17 or 18 employees on an ongoing basis is significant. So part of our job is to build the tax base, and projects like this build the tax base, which means that we spread that burden, some of these fixed costs we have in sitting in your chair over more and more property, more and more valuation, and that's significant. So purely from an economic standpoint, this is a no-brainer. It's going to be a huge impact to our community. It takes pressure off of you when you're trying to deal with budgetary issues and expenses come up that you're trying to cover. And my position, our position is we encourage you to move forward and do so as quickly as possible, because the sooner it gets on the tax rolls, the more we're going to experience the benefits of it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Amy Beffert.
Hi.
Morning.
I'm
Morning.
Amy Beffert. Good morning. I would like to request that I respond to Mike Worth's question regarding the rural water district water loss. I feel I'm in a good position to do that, as I am a member of the Ellis County Rural Water District Water Board. And I would like that to be not part of my 3 minutes, if that's possible.
We can do that.
Okay, so in response to his question regarding the water loss, Mike attended the meeting in February. I know because I was there, and that was our annual meeting. Since that meeting, we have repaired multiple leaks, which our water loss is greatly reduced now. We can't fix the leaks till they surface, and we have fixed several. So our water loss has greatly declined. I expect that to continue. Okay, so we got that out of the way. As I said, my name's Amy Beffert. My husband Pete and I were some of the landowners in the Tallgrass Solar Project. We've owned the property since January of 2009 when we purchased it. We have paid property taxes, we've made mortgage payments every year, and we have the privilege to call the property our own, which entitles us to private property rights. As the landowners, we have exclusive authority and control over leasing our property. We have the right to determine how the property is used and who is allowed access. Even though Ellis County has zoning regulations, that does not negate our rights to develop the property and use the property in the best manner as we see fit. Some might argue that our land is not suitable to change the zoning use for a renewable energy project. However, that argument would have very little merit, as our land is already energy producing in the form of oil production.
In addition, multiple parcels of land surrounding our land is energy producing in the form of oil production. Renewable energy would simply be one more source of energy production to add to our existing energy producing parcel of land and the adjacent parcels of land that are currently energy producing. Issuing a conditional use permit to IBB to build this solar project will result in multiple financial benefits. If people take the time to read the economic impact studies that are posted on the Ellis County website, they will most likely find it difficult to argue against the project. The documents that are posted speak for themselves. The commissioners have spent a great deal of time negotiating the pilot agreement, which they have worked on for the past several months. They should be commended for securing such a great deal for the county. The commissioners can be proud of accomplishing this impressive $1.1 million in payments, increasing annually for the first 10 years. USD 489 will get over $15 million over the life of this project. Not without mention the jobs, the economic boost for the community that this project brings. That's all outlined in the economic impact study. I've been attending the past 3 months of commissioners' meetings. There's been a lot of talk and focus about next year's budget regarding how difficult it is to run the county without raising property taxes again due to ever increasing costs to operate the county. Several months ago, it was said that the county needs another source of revenue other than increasing property taxes. The Tallgrass Solar Project is a perfect source of tax revenue other than raising property taxes. And I encourage the commissioners to vote in favor of this project so our county can have all the positive economic benefits associated with this project. While there may be one or two people displeased about the project moving forward, it is difficult to please everyone. And one or two people's wants should not outweigh the benefits and needs of all the Ellis County taxpayers and residents. Ellis County taxpayers want and we need tax relief. Thank you for your time and consideration of this project. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And one last thing, if I may. There are a lot of people who came today in support of this project. Would you please all stand who are in support of this project? You have overwhelming support in this room. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, any comments, commissioners?
I guess if IBB maybe comes up, they could probably address some of those direct questions. I kind of like to answer them a little bit, but again, I want to make sure I'm off base. But as far as the amount of energy they can produce, that's under their contract. They really can't produce anymore. So they can't necessarily put more out there to produce more because they're not allowed to produce more. As far as additional leases and other pieces of land that potentially in the future, those would also come under a different CUP. So, but they might be able to address that a little bit more directly.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for
Morning.
your time.
Good morning.
Stephen Link, IBV, working with Tallgrass Development here. Just like to touch on a couple issues here. We were in a study in the Southwest Power Pool, which is a grid operator, for a project of 175 megawatt capacity. We cannot exceed that. It's called a nameplate capacity. We cannot produce more energy than that. Just because that's what we're allowed. So the studies dictated and allowed us to. We have to pay some significant network upgrades just to get to that injection capacity of 175 megawatts. So this project can't grow from here without years of study. And this area is, we saw some injection capacity and we tried to get as much of it on the grid to stabilize this grid and then the Southwest Power Pool. So we are not looking to expand this project in any way, and we cannot without substantial investment, study, time, resources. As far as our additional acreage, this CUP application was submitted with specific land in there. We cannot change that. Those are the rules. The CUP can't be amended to say we're gonna use this other land. It would have to come onto a completely separate CUP application. So through the whole process again, with public notice and all the other aspects of a CUP application through the Planning Commission up to the commissioners. We don't have any intention of putting battery storage here. The use case for battery storage is pretty specific. In kind of a rural area like this, without the real heavy load, someone's in a concentrated area, we would not look at putting battery storage here. Besides your ordinance and the public perception here is they don't want any battery. So that's, even as a long shot, we would not attempt to put battery storage here. Well, we did pass out, we have some letters of support. We're working in the community. We have some letters of support from Grow Hayes, the Chamber of Commerce. We have a letter of support from additional neighbor, Steve Cross, Dorkey Farms. And we also have one from Marcy McClellan, who is a former county commissioner. If there are other items specifically which need to be addressed, for example, the drilling and stuff, our engineering team has been out there. We're doing some significant work, some geotechnical analysis. We are taking all of the steps here. And the company is liable for anything that we do. And this rural water line, which runs off the eastern boundary of this project site, we will not impact that project at all, or that pipeline at all. So if there are any issues with that, of course, our insurance will cover that, but we are not impacting that. We are aware of every single pipeline, every single drainage line, all the setbacks we have from the existing oil and gas interests out there. So if there are any questions I need to answer, please let me know.
One of the questions that Mike had posed was, what happens, or is there anything in place for end of life, or if this company were to go defunct or something? And I believe you've answered that before, but could you just state that?
Yes. So this project is going through the diligence to be financed. A significant amount of capital. We already bought some equipment here to meet some safe harbor requirements. These projects, the lifespan, the panels are warranted for 35 years. The financing is done. The power purchase agreement is usually between 15 and 20 years. And so that's a contract to take energy off this project. So if this project if the project company goes defunct, the power purchase contract is in place already. It keeps feeding in there. The company would be responsible for keeping that production going onto the grid there. So just the interconnection itself has significant value there, especially since we're not running a lengthy right-of-way transmission line there. So this project is fully financed, is backed by some really diligent investors. So long-term financing is secure. There's not a chance that we put this project in here and have to pull out. This project will go to a power purchase agreement. The only thing standing in the way here is to make sure it's de-risked with the proper permitting and procedures to move forward.
Thank you.
Mike asked about the, expansion of it. Like I say, that'll take a separate CUP again. And that's not only that, you'll have to be with the people that own the transmission line if it'll even carry that much right now. So you can explain that a little bit.
Thank you, Richard. So one other thing I want to mention here is we do have a significant decommissioning plan in place to address any of those concerns. That will be bonded. The bonds will be insecure to ensure removal and restoration of this project site. So it's not like this project will stop and everybody moves out. The bonds in place, those bonds stay in place for the entire operation until we decommission and restore to the landowners and county's requirements. As for the other part of this, the line that we're connecting on is ITC Midwest. They did their study. We've signed an LGIA with them. It's for this nameplate capacity. They told us specifically what our network upgrades are. So any other expansion of that would take additional network upgrades somewhere else down the line. So we cannot exceed this agreed upon injection capacity, which is 175 megawatt on the specific land that we have here.
Okay, thank you.
I saw Pat want to get up there a little bit. Did you want to discuss anything with the geotech side of it?
Yeah, good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Matt Ripa, for the record. Yeah, absolutely, Nathan. I was just giving Steve a tip on the decommissioning plan there. That is an agreement that we are entering into with the county, just to close the loop on that. You know, the bond will be posted with the county, and that will be updated for inflation every 5 years, I believe. So that is an assurance for, you know, the neighbors and community members here that if something was to go awry, there is a mechanism in place to remove this facility and restore it. Regarding the geotechnical surveys, so since we first made this application, we've gone out and done a very detailed geotechnical analysis, which included a number of borings, pile load testing, which includes actually physically driving the piles in, testing them for different structural capacities, laterally, uplift, and axial, which is twisting. There was also electroresistivity testing, some test pits conducted throughout the entire facility, and the additional study we conducted specifically for this project, and given the amount of gas lines and utility lines in this site, is a vibration study. That vibration study was just recently completed. Essentially, we looked at a couple points near the pipelines out there. We were driving piles in the ground and trying to confirm what those impacts of driving piles would be on the utilities out there. What that study found was that there was no impacts given our setbacks from all the utilities. So that's what we've been working on, you know, since we initially made this application. In addition to that, we have conducted a full detailed ALTA survey, which is all the utilities, the title, exceptions, everything that's out there. We've also conducted ground penetrating radar throughout the facility, which is essentially it's like a LiDAR type analysis that penetrates the ground and will identify any differences in surfaces like pipe materials, etc. So we've been conducting that throughout the entire facility and site, and we've done a number of other environmental tests. It's been pretty significant amount of investment here in the due diligence.
Okay. One last question for you, Pat, before you walk down. The site preparation and stuff, will you be doing a lot of soil moving or leveling to do this, or is this going to stay and kind of match the topography of the land that's currently in existence?
Yeah, we anticipate leaving it as much as we possibly can in existing conditions. There will be some spot grading that needs to occur throughout the site to make sure, you know, inverter pads are level. Some of the roads don't create big erosive issues, but holistically on the project, we don't want to change the topography too much because that'll start to change the stormwater and the erosion issues on site, right? We want to keep that as it is today and have no changes to that for anybody neighboring as well as anything on the property itself.
Okay, well, and I think you kind of touched on another little point. I don't believe we have a stormwater runoff plan finished yet, but that's incoming with final documents.
That's correct. So at the last meeting on May 19th, we discussed the stormwater plan. We will submit a detailed stormwater plan for the facility, looking at a number of different storm events. And for us to finance these projects, we have to look at a 100-year storm event for the entire project site. And make sure that we don't have any complications or issues with wires and, you know, potential stormwater paths, et cetera, making sure everything drains properly. There's access to the site in the event of a major storm.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and just on the grading, you know, the technology with the racking is improving every year. The slope tolerances are getting to be pretty significant. There are racking vendors out now that will allow up to a 33% slope, which is pretty significant. And that doesn't require any grading, anything like that, right? So for us, you know, we are incentivized not to grade as much as possible because grading is just an additional cost to the facility. You know, when we do our financial modeling of everything, we try to look at realistically, what are our grading costs on this site, right? What do we anticipate is going to be required to make sure we can meet the structural capacities of everything? We do have some preliminary analysis tools that we look at early on, and this site came back pretty favorable in that regard, without having to move a substantial amount of dirt. And that's, again, why we're here before you, and this project is continuing to move in this direction.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you. I think that pretty much answered all the questions that were actually asked. So,
I'm going to move to approve the Tallgrass Solar Development CUP 2543 Resolution Number 2026-11 and the Tallgrass Development LLC contribution agreements as attached.
Okay, we have a motion. All those in favor say aye.
you got to have a second.
I'm sorry, yeah. Go ahead. I'll second that.
Okay. And before we
Okay.
vote, I'll make my comments. And,
Okay.
went through a lot of diligence on this, and part of what I looked at consistently, I think, is that this is a permit. It's a conditional use permit, and ultimately that permit is between a private industry, a private company, IBB, and in this case, a private landowner in the Beffords. And I think Amy spoke to it, the zoning regulations, we do have those, but they don't stop what the private, what a property owner wants to enter into a lease agreement with solar or oil or another landowner that wants to raise cattle or put crops out there. And so that's been a big part of what I look through is what are we requesting in a permit? The permit really isn't with the county with an industry, it's between the industry and that owner. And whether we put conditions on that permit or not, the conditions don't always have to be uniform across everything that gets approved. Those allowances and tolerances are there's guidelines, and it goes through the zoning committee, it comes to us. We discuss what we want to allow and tolerate, and I think ultimately that's where we've gotten with this CUP is what us as a county can accept for the majority of the people that live here as far as tax consequences, what may come as far as road conditions, safety conditions. Those are all going to be met, but the risk ultimately, as far as everything else, is on the landowner. I don't think it's necessarily the county's role to protect landowners all the time on what they enter into an agreement. So from my standpoint, I don't need to stand in the way of this. I'm going to vote to approve it because, again, it's a permit between those two.
I agree with Commissioner Burgess on a lot of points. I will say, though, from the zoning standpoint, it is nice to be able to allow input from neighbors on things that are coming up. So they have to live there, they have to see it. So I've tried to communicate with the neighbors out there and take their input. I know a number of the points that were raised were relayed to this development, and there's been altercations. There's been adjustments because of it. So, but at the end of the day, I think we do have something that we've worked very hard on, and it looks very promising.
Okay, I will say, we've already utilized one of our free things in the world, which is wind. May as well utilize the sun also. Not only that, it is 3 to 5 times the amount of electricity that is needed within a 2-year period. That has raised just all the time. So anything you go buy, electric, and there's a lot of solar out there. Whatever industry or business you're in, you're starting to see a lot of it, whether it's along interstate, whatever. But yep, I do like the idea of this. I mean, and I will say, like Mr. Burgess said, you know, it's the farmer's deal, and it's going to produce and help our community out in every way.
Well, with that, we do have a motion and a second.
Mhm.
So we'll need to make a vote. Is that a roll call vote that has to be done?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Chair, you ready for that?
I think so.
I guess go ahead, clerk, if you would like to do a roll call vote.
Commissioner Nathan Liker,
I'll vote to approve.
Chair Neil Younger,
I will vote to approve.
Commissioner Michael Burgess.
Vote to approve.
We have a 3-0 yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, planning and zoning reappointments. Justin?
Just as before Justin speaks, I just want to thank everyone that has come publicly for every meeting or any meeting that they've attended, whether that be the zoning meeting or anything like that. Your voices are very impactful to hear. And we have a budget at the end of this meeting. We have our budget presentation for this year. So if you wish to sit around and stay for that, that way everybody can hear and they don't have to say, well, we didn't hear about it. It is starting and this is the process. So please attend and please contact us with any extra questions. Thank you.
And that is a long process, as we all know, so. Okay, Justin.
All right. Justin Craig, Environmental Services Director. Before you this morning, I was just asking the commission to reappoint 2 members to our Planning and Zoning Committee. Each year we have 2 members. Their 3-year terms expire. This year is Jerry Mervis and Paul Dreiling, our 2 newest members. It just fell mid-cycle, but this is their time to be reappointed. I've spoken to both, and they are willing to accept another 3-year term.
Okay.
Okay, I'll move to commission to reappoint Jerry Mermis and Paul Dreiling to the 3-year term on Joint Planning Commission effective July the 1st of 2026.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign.
Thank you to Jerry and Paul for
Yeah.
continuing to do that for us.
Thanks for any of the volunteers. That is a big thing anymore.
Just a public reminder, June 13th, we're having the Tire Amnesty Day at the landfill from Saturday, June 13th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. There's details on our website, or you can give us a call. We can answer any questions for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Justin. Okay, the oil purchase from Brandon.
Morning again, Commissioners. Brendan McKay, Ellis County Public Works Director. So before you is the agenda item and PO for the purchase of emulsion oil for the production of our warm mix asphalt, as well as all of our, wait a moment.
Okay.
So it's for the production of our asphalt. It's also for all of our seal coats that we will apply and tactical oil coats that we need to do for the roadways to make the new lift of asphalt stick. Portion of that money is left over from last year, from PO was written last year that was not fully utilized. And the federal fund exchange of just over $200,000, we will pull out of 78. That money will go back. There'll be no change to 78 at the end of this, but it reduces our impact to our operating budget by that $200,000. So these numbers are based off of the maximum amount we would need. So it's based off maximum application rates, so like 4/10 for a seal coat. Traditionally, if the road is in good shape, we'll be down closer to 3/800ths instead of 4/10. So this would be the maximum amount we would spend on all of our maintenance this year. Hopefully it will come in less, and usually it does.
Okay, and that's, we only have one local vendor, more or less, that
Yes,
we
sir.
can use. Okay. Well, I move to approve PO 8003 to Ergon Asphalt and Emulsions Incorporated.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank
I
you,
have-
Brendan.
I have one thing, Brandon, I've noticed that, whoever's, the great person, but they're starting to, like on a, road, they're starting to cut down at the bottom of the hill, so the water runs off of the berm, so kudos to them, and I see you done it on the Highway 40, so
Yep.
thank you.
Especially when we have these rain days like this where it's too wet to be out in the blades. We'll send the guys out in groups of 2 in the pickup trucks, since we don't have enough trucks for every individual to start driving the routes with sharpshooters to open up drainage areas that may be holding water, as well as going over the territories looking for concerns that they can hit when it dries out.
As well
They're
as
doing
you
it.
know, the faster the water gets off there, the better that road dries out.
Correct. It's what they're doing right now as well, because it's too wet to be out there. We have 2 blades out working on a roadway that can be worked right now, but the rest are in trucks right now. We're working around the shop.
Okay.
The road that we were working on our road tour that you guys were reconstructing, I guess, that's been finished, I take it, and how's it holding up and all that? Yeah.
It's holding up great. I mean, with these slow soaking rains, it's going to cut up some. So far, it hasn't cut up yet, but I haven't looked at it this morning.
And when do we start on Yosemite? Is that later?
Yosemite, so that work is, the rock work we'll do later part of the fall and through winter.
Okay.
We're now in the asphalt part where the amount of time it would take to upgrade a rock road, and usually we don't have, it's kind of unseasonable rainfalls right now. We wanted there to be moisture when we work it. So we haul the moisture on, but also like this past spring, where it got very dry, right after we upgraded those rock roads, we were losing that brand new rock because it was turning to power, pulverized itself. So that's usually done in late fall, in the wet season, through winter and into early spring. But we pulled up the ditches in there in preparation for doing it later this year. I know we got a call thanking us that it still held up great over the weekend or on Friday last week. It was still in good shape.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nope.
I had stopped out by Brandon and I had received a phone call from, I guess I'm gonna call it Yosemite South, and the individual was really pleased with what you and your crew have done there, so, very good, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Also, you did Catherine Road right off the Catherine Blacktop there, the 3
Correct.
miles. I've gotten compliments on that as well, so,
We're not quite done yet. We're on the last mile
right.
for the county line, but this rain is kind of,
But
a
what's
halt to
been,
that
what's
work.
been done is held up nicely, and they are greatly appreciative up there.
thank you. I'll make sure to pass that along.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Law Enforcement Center, Darren?
Darren Myers, County Administrator. Your next agenda item is in regards to the Law Enforcement Center renovation contract, AIA document for the design build process of the basement and the main floor of the building. As the commission knows, the Hayes PD is moving out towards the end of the year, and over the last couple of months, we went through an RFP build-out process, released it, reviewed it, and made the suggestion to the commission in May to move forward with a selected proposal, and the commission awarded that bid on May 19th for PwC and Tesserae out of Wichita to work together. Since that time, on May 19th, within the last 2 weeks, we've had a kickoff meeting on May 27th with some of the subcontractors, the primary contractor, as well as Tesserae, to start the clarification and the additional information and any clarification needed for the design phase, engineering phase of the basement of the building. So that way, by hopefully mid to late July, they'll be able to get the plans completed and approved by the State Fire Marshal's office and be able to proceed with the construction demolition phase of the basement for that phase one. But also since that time, as we also stated that at the May 19th meeting, following with this meeting would be the AIA contract for that design build agreement. And we've received that, we've met and talked about it, and Mr. Jeter's also reviewed it as well for any of his legal concerns. And it is on the agenda today is attached, and we're just asking for the commission to approve that contract with PwC and Tesserae.
And we've kind of already approved this one, so I'll move to approve the design build contract with PwC and Tesserae for the renovation of the LEC.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. All opposed, same sign. All right. Darren, fireworks in the unincorporated areas?
Well, as I joked around a little bit yesterday with two of the commissioners, this conversation changed quite drastically from when this published last week, with some of the areas of the county have had 4 or 5 inches of rain. Very blessed to have seen that. But each year, the first meeting in June, the resolution is addressed by the county commission that basically gives permission of when there is allowable for the discharge of fireworks in the unincorporated areas of Ellis County. And at that meeting, the commissioners have the ability to relax that portion of the resolution to allow the discharge of fireworks for a set day and time as the commission may approve or not approve. At this point, as seen in the agenda, we've always tried to keep it the same. If the commission wants to allow the discharge of fireworks, we try to keep it the same with the city haze. So that way, just for enforcement pieces, we're trying to match with most of the population in the county, whether within the city haze. But Ellis and Victoria are different times than what the city haze does allow. But as stated in the agenda, for I don't know how many years it's been in a row now, but the commission has approved July 2nd to the 4th from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. each day for the discharge of fireworks. And at this point, if the commission wants to allow that to happen, we just need a motion to approve, and I'll stand for any other questions.
I guess, have any of the commissioners got calls on anything? I know like last year it was,
Well,
people were concerned.
No, really, no. I mean, if they do inquire, it's typically they're within city limits. They're more concerned about city limits, which we go out county-wise.
Right.
I don't typically get any issues.
Okay.
I mean, I would have had I had a conversation with Darren last night about the fireworks and controlled burns, and I'm sure in the future there's gonna be some changes coming and some updates to some policies, but the fireworks have never really been a concern. It's been some of the other major controlled burns that have been done that tend to cause stuff, but we finally gotten some moisture, and I think we're okay.
That helps. Yeah.
So with that, I'll move to allow the discharge of fireworks in the unincorporated areas of Ellis County on July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th during hours of 10 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. All those opposed, same sign.
And just a note on fireworks, we have had people reach out in the past, and like Commissioner Burgess said, it's mainly those that are inside city limits, but their concerns are noted. I don't know the best way to address it or how to go forward on some of that. There's quite a bit there to unpack.
As I'm thinking about it, Darren, the county, volunteer fires, what, covers it. Do we change any of our structure over that time just in case or not? And I guess that should have been maybe part of my thought process before I voted yes. Just, do we staff a little differently? Do we staff more in the evenings or like time-wise from 10 to 11? Is there?
No, the only thing different that we do during those timeframes is on July, well, I don't know the exact day this year. I imagine it's on the 4th was when the Wild West Fest does their big shoot, southwest part of town. We staff several trucks and protect the southwest corner of the city of Hayes outside the city limits, out past the golf course around like 230th and all that for any of that. And then any additional help for grass fires for cover around that area. But other than that, it's just an awareness in the fire department. Everybody kind of just knows that we have the potential. Not that it's not a concern, but I did put the statistics in the agenda for the last couple of years. I think last year we had one fire incident call related to fireworks that less than 1 acre of grass. The year before that, we had no calls. I've already scrolled past on the agenda, but I think the year before that, we had like 5, 6 calls that are listed, but that was more than like the previous 5 years combined. So we usually don't have a lot of fire-related incidents due to fireworks.
I wonder what our EMS response is. People blow. I mean, that's probably the bigger risk is blowing fingers off.
I do know that occasionally they do have some, but it's not very often. So to kind of answer your question, we don't do any additional staffing. It's just that all the chief officers, we have somewhat of a system in place where we know when we're short-staffed, either on the command level or the firefighter level. If there's a wedding or if they're all out, companies all out at the lake or on vacation, we just know when to call additional help quicker because of the lack of volunteers that are available.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Darren. Okay. Darren again, the first draft budget.
As we move into June, this is the first start of the first draft of the budget, and I see Commissioners Liker's request of everybody to stick around to pay attention to the budget. Didn't last very long. Kind of made me a little bit nervous that I was going to share a lot more information since we had the opportunity to talk about budget when there's a lot more in attendance, but I'll still go through the main talking points, and I know this does get a little bit long because of all the numbers, but as you see, the first draft has additional revenues, and this isn't necessarily tax revenues, but increase of fees from EMS calls to miscellaneous fees, passport fees, health insurance fees, sales tax, all those play into the entire bucket of revenue for the county. As you can see, we have projected just over $500,000 or just under $500,000 in additional revenue for 2027. And then when you look at the expense side of it, it's just over $700,000. So only about a $200,000 difference on this first draft. With that, I will say our current mill levy rate is 38.118 mills. The clerk, bless her heart, she was up here even on the weekend. This is her stress time of trying to get all the valuations done. They were all turned over to her, I believe, right at the end of the week or over the weekend from our appraiser's office. So she has started to work on that and get the state assessed utilities. And then after we have all that from Bobby in a few weeks, or maybe even next week, tomorrow maybe, we'll be able to move forward and input all the actually assessed valuation and move forward with the state budget forms to finalize where we're at with or not really finalize, but give you a very close estimate on where we're at for taxes for 2027, 2026 taxes for the 2027 year budget, and what that may look like, as well as how it's compared to the mill levy. So this is the first draft of the budget. The next draft will come back to the commission at the beginning of July, so you can see where we're at. And at that point is when I'll have those better estimates for you in regards to the tax base. for the 2027 budget. And as part of that, we've also had our audit completed, which was a couple weeks earlier this year than last year, and that is greatly appreciated by Adams Brown to allow staff time to complete the forms and get the information back to the commission on what the overall budget looks like for 27 earlier in the process instead of waiting later in the year. A couple different things to point out in regards to our budget. The commission's goal was to essentially try to keep the mill levy the same. And some of the charts that are listed shows where mill levy's at and different things, but I'll kind of just skim through those. At all 105 counties, Ellis County has the 14th lowest mill levy rate in the state of Kansas. And when you look at the effective tax rate of all 105 counties, Ellis County for 2020, for the current year, 2026, is the 4th lowest in the entire state as well. And that's when they look at the average urban residential rates, average levies throughout the state and compare them. Which is on the next page. I didn't scroll fast enough. As you see, the only 3 counties lower than us are Johnson, Nemaha, and Sedgwick counties. And then when you compare those lowest average property taxes paid for being the 4th lowest rate in the county, you can see about how much you would pay compared in property taxes. I just put a simple chart up there for 3 different types of home valuations of $100,000, $250,000, and a $500,000 home. It'd be nice maybe to have another 3 or 4 charts so that way you could see an additional 20, 30 counties and how those rates climb. But for those essential same type of home values of $100,000, $250,000, and $500,000 home, there's 101 other counties for those same valuations of home. All those counties you'd pay more in property taxes when you compare that to the effective tax rate for Ellis County. For the end of 2025, we did collect just about $970,000 in the additional budgeted revenue that we had, and we also stayed almost that same amount under budget. Which, when you collect the additional revenue and stay under budget, that helps your unencumbered cash rollover, which comes in and plays into that overall number at the very end. This is per our audit, our unencumbered cash balance that we'll be using for the end of 2025 to start with the 2027 budget will be $4.58 million in cash rolled over from year to year. And as you can see, the couple previous years, that just varies up and down a little bit just based on the budgets and where we're at, but we're right in the middle between the last 2 years. For the budget overall for next year, a couple different things that it does include is an estimated increase for health insurance cost of 7%. And then we'll note that is just an estimate at this point due to our renewal periods. Those numbers don't actually get released to us until September, which is after the budget is adopted. And then when we do mid-year adjustments, if the commission does approve those health insurance fees do get adjusted throughout the process. So that way that we're not over budgeting and that money comes back in the budget stabilization line item. So that way there's not just extra budget authority in departmental budgets that could get spent. We pull those back out and helps financially for the county. The 2027 budget here also has salary adjustments that are included for this year, as well as a step adjustment per policy in January of 2027. And it does include a 2.5% estimate for a mid-year adjustment next year, which is the 3-year average of the last 3 years of the Social Security estimate. That is not built into all the departmental budgets. That's also in that budget stabilization fund. So that way, if the commission does approve it, those would be reallocated. But if the commission does not approve it, there's no budget authority spread out into all the departments. As I continue, I just saw a typo there. Some of the items in the draft 2027 budget, not the 202 budget. We have the continued funding of $1.6 million included in the budget. This is the funds that are transferred over to Fund 78 for road and bridge projects. And your capital plans for all the different funds will be brought to you also in July as we start working on those. This does include a reduction of interest. As the commissioners know, the interest rates have decreased, which are good in some instances, whether you're borrowing money or different things like that. But when those interest rates do lower, that means the county receives less interest on our idle funds and our investments. So we lost several $100,000 in 2020, or we're projected to lose several $100,000 in 2027. The maintenance, road and asphalt maintenance program is still fully funded that the commissioners adopted in '24. We still have the training for professional development for, although that has been reduced, we do have professional development training funds in for our management leadership teams. The continued levels of transfers to capital reserves, for the most part, they've all stayed the same in your draft budgets. There's a couple departments that did make some adjustments to try to meet your budget goals. One of the things that we will lose in the future as a reserve fund is the oil depletion funding. There's just over $400,000 in that account, and our auditors have asked, due to the length of time that has been in there, that we transfer that money into our general fund, and that full remaining amount is transferred into the general fund in 2026. So that's when you look at 2027, that's $400 and some thousand of lost revenue as compared to this year as well. Bond funding for 2026 and 2027 for the two different bonds are included in Fund 3, and those transfers will be made out of our capital funds, as we've discussed in the process to pay for those funds, as well as the sales tax from the 2020 sales tax. I did project all of the sales tax for the health and general fund sales tax to be flat for this year as well. Right now, between the two, one is up 1.6 and the other is up 1.7, but we're barely, or not even midway through the year, so those could change quite a bit, but did not include that 1% increase on all of those. The funding, as I've mentioned to the commissioners, is for the county attorney's office. With the hiring, we've had the allocation for a fourth assistant county attorney, as well as their paralegal. That's fully funded back into this budget, and that kind of goes up and down throughout the year as they're trying to work with Washburn Law to get somebody hired. I believe they're hoping that they have somebody selected they'll be able to start in September. So that's back in the funds for next year. Each year we pulled that out based on what the needs were. Some of the things to consider, as I mentioned to the commissioners, there were only 5 departments that did not meet the budget goal for which the commission set, and it's not necessarily the fault of those departments. It was based on planning as what the commission has approved and had goals for the coming years. One of them is that attorney's office is, like I say, their funding is extended a little bit past where they're at in 26, but is because of a full year salary instead of only a half year salary of those positions. The communications department, as we moved from replacing the on-premise hardware for all of the network infrastructure to a software subscription, those fees are now, those were approved at the beginning of this year and implemented, and then budgeted this year and then into next year for the next step to that. So that is in there. Solid waste fund, which is at the final discussion. There is an additional $500,000 in the solid waste fund to use out of their reserve fund to plan for the expansion of the transfer station on the north side of that property that the commission is included in. And then the courts, as the commission knows, in the 2024 process, or 2025 year to approve the 26 budget year, the court-appointed contract attorneys with the court services requested to be compared and do an adjustment for their salaries. And that adjustment was approved by the commission for this year's budget, but only 60%, not a 60% increase, but of what they asked for, we did 60% of it this year. And the 2027 budget would include that other 40%. So that's why they worked. They're a little bit above that budget goal as well. The next thing that you'll look at after today is the outside agencies, and those will be on your agenda next week. As of Friday, I did receive all of the outside agency requests. As you know, a majority of those previous years go through the Care Council. Janelle and Hallie will be here on June 16th meeting to present the Care Council allocations of that 3/10 of a mil, which equates out to that I think it's $162,125 of that outside agency funding. All the other agencies will be here next week, as in DSNWK, Access, Humane Society, High Plains Mental Health, Grow Hayes, Historical Society. Of all of those agencies that the county commission approves and those funding requests, only 2 of those agencies requested more funding. One of those is High Plains Mental Health, and the other is Access Transportation for their services. Everybody else has requested the same amount as 2026, which is what the commission requested. The 2 final budgets are the fire district. The overall budget for the fire district has a slight reduction of a couple $1,000s as compared to the 2026. So there are reductions in that budget, but it also does include the adjustment to compensate for the inflationary costs of public safety equipment that is budgeted every year. But overall, a slight decrease. And then, as we discussed, the solid waste fund does have that additional funds. That is an estimate at this time. We're thinking that that's more than what we need. So if the project comes in at $300,000, we're not going to spend $500,000 just because it says, but it gives some flexibility for some alternates. If they've been budgeting for many years and it kind of gets pushed back because of the lack of funding, but maybe doing some additional concrete work and some apron work out there as well for some improvements. So if this gets approved later this year, after the budget is approved, we'll go through an RFP process. So that way that work could probably start in spring of 27 if approved. As well as the overall rates for solid waste. For municipal waste, construction, and all those, there is no projected increase for any of the fees charged at the landfill, as those are all part of an enterprise fund. There's no public tax dollars that fund the landfill. So, like I say, that's a lot of information, a lot of numbers, and Bobby's given me the eye that it's time to stop. So I'll answer any questions if you have them.
I have none at this time. There'll be plenty of discussion coming forward.
Yeah, like I said, the next steps will be your second draft budget in the beginning of July. And I don't have the dates right in front of me, but that'll be just like this meeting in open session with additional fine tune, as well as the work of the capital budgets. And then I think it's the 3rd week of July. I can look at my calendar, but I believe in the 3rd week of July is when we have the 2 days of budget sessions where the commissioners will come in for the majority of the day to meet with every department head or elected official and go over line by line and projects and different things within their budgets. After those are done, we'll take any feedback and work in through August already, we're talking about, where we kind of finalize the budgets, and the September, the second meeting in September is when the commission would actually approve it. And actually backtrack in late July, after we have the all-day budget meetings, is the notification that we'll have to send to the clerk for the revenue neutral rate hearing if we want to exceed it or not. As we've stated in previous years, we've always asked the commission to approve that we exceed the revenue neutral rate. That doesn't mean that we will. That just gives us the flexibility as we continue through the budget process. And if we don't need to, it just gives us that flexibility if something comes up in the following couple months. But September is approved, and then everything is due to Bobby by the first part of October to finalize everything with the state.
Okay. Thank you, Darren.
So at I guess I'm looking forward to Vern coming and talking about the motor vehicles, because that could be probably not the full amount of the 496 over, but it'll probably take a significant chunk of that. I mean, the budget would stay the same, but it would take it off the levy side, correct?
Correct. And I can't remember if it's the July 7th or 14th meeting. He's not here. I know he's had individual conversations with the commission. The state legislation passed the ability for county commissioners and county treasurers to work together to augment or change the motor vehicle taxes per registration of vehicles. So that way funding of the motor, it's one of the state systems that we do for the state, however, receive very little funds for it. And this change in the fee structure allows for an increase in fees for registrations with going over a certain allowable limit comes to the county commission to approve a resolution, which Mr. Jeter's already reviewed with the county treasurer. And I believe we'll be able to take, I believe the proposal was to remove 3 employees off the general property tax and put them into the motor vehicle fund. And that would essentially then, if you look at those estimates that I gave you at the very beginning of all the numbers, we have 500,000 in revenue extra for next year and 700,000 expenses. And if we augment 700,000 off of that, our revenues will exceed, the increase in revenues will outweigh the increase of expenses for next year, at least at this point. But at that point, it'll be about $100,000. So it helps with the general fund budget and property taxes as well.
Okay.
And that, like I say, that's on the first or second meeting in July to the county commission can approve. And there was I think by the statute that was approved, it couldn't be done before July, if I remember right. That's why we waited a little bit on that.
County Councilor Bill G., the law doesn't take effect until July 1.
Okay.
So I don't know whether it's correct reasoning or not, but I concluded I didn't want you to pass a resolution before the law actually took effect, so.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And on our 1.6 million for road and bridge projects, which, I guess, do we know which bridge is next on the list? And we have 12th Street's on the grant application right now.
Yeah, the 12th Street, just on the west edge of Hayes, 12th Street and Rome Road Bridge is on a grant application, which probably in the next couple of weeks to a month or so, the results of, if we get awarded, that grant will come back. We have 2 bridges that are close in location on Pfeiffer Avenue, just north of the curve north of Pfeiffer. There's that bridge over the Smoky. And then 3 or 4 miles north of that, there's another bridge that if you remember on the road tour, we came right to at that intersection and stopped. Those 2 will be.
It's over Big Creek.
Over Big Creek, yeah. Resurfaced with a deck. And then 27, those funds come up for, we had money in there for Reservation Road. We're not sure when that project will start yet because that was tied in with the RHID with Mr. Pray's development. And then the bridges on Pfeiffer Avenue. And then we do have 1.25 million set aside for the Rome Road Bridge. And that number could change significantly if we do get any type of bridge. And as a reminder there, we did apply for a grant, but we also tried to work with Union Pacific Railroad to see if they would allow us to do a new crossing, right? Instead of going over the bridge, you'd come down to the 8th Street exit out of Hayes. And it was wasn't a no, but they said we could build an overpass, which would not happen, or if the city of Hayes would close 2 of their crossings to allow for this new one, and that's not feasible either. So working with the railroad on it.
We'll know here in the next couple of months whether we've been awarded that grant, but if we're not, our general thought right now is we might reapply, but.
As long, this is the reason we haven't applied for that bridge for the grants, because recently it wasn't eligible. This was the first year it was. So as long as the bridge maintains in safe conditions and that bridge is eligible, if the commission's intention is for us to continue to reapply for that grant, we can do so. That's essentially what we did on the Saline River Bridge. I think we applied for that one maybe 3-4 years in a row, and we finally got it. But 4 years of waiting for $4.7 million grant to replace the bridge was well worth the wait, and maybe that'll happen again with this bridge.
Honestly, I may have changed of thoughts on that, but I'll work through that at a different time. The other thing I just want to kind of point because of what today, the 1.1 million, just so the public's kind of clear, that doesn't go into effect until the solar's live. So that's probably 3 years from now. So as far as budgeting now, budgeting for next year, of course, that's not part of this. However, there is an initial payment, 400,000 or so, and that'll be part of this budget process. So speak to that a little bit.
So that is correct. The first payment of, skipping the initial payments of that, the first payment that we would receive is 1.1 million. That would be due to Ellis County 1 year after they actually start producing revenue. At the same time, that's when they put power onto the grid. That's not for several years out, maybe 2029, if not 2030. So we can't budget or essentially spend that money or allocate that money because the project's not here, or we don't have it may not happen. Something could not follow through. But a part of that 1.1 million that was referenced with the agreements that the commission approved today, in September of 2026, we'll receive 200,000 of that 1.1 million, no matter if the project commences or not. That will be due to Ellis County on the completion of us completing the road use agreement, which is the next part of the process for the solar project. That $200,000 would be listed, gifted to Ellis County as a grant, and we'll be able to use those at a future commission meeting to discuss a couple different options on how to use that. And then 2027 September, we'll receive an additional 200,000, no matter if the project moves forward or not, in the form of a grant to do a community project, which will also come back at a future commission agenda. And then the remaining balance, which would be 700,000 of that 1.1, would be what the commission would receive in roughly 2029 or 2030 budget years. So none of that really is included in this year or next year's budget, simply because they will be in a form of a donation, which are, you can budget those differently because it's unanticipated revenue. We don't necessarily have the budget authority to do it, but doing it as a donation, you can use those as a reimbursement to do a certain project.
All questions I have at this time. Thank you.
Okay.
Can we talk some more? County Administrator report?
There's a lot of numbers there. I could keep going for quite some time, but I appreciate the commission's desire to be involved in the budget process. This is a long 6-7 month process. The questions you ask, the meetings that you have with the department heads, as well as the all-day budget sessions that we have, helps you make the decisions at the end of the budget process. And as Commissioner Liker stated, it is nice when the community comes in earlier in the process and asks questions as to why or what, instead of waiting at 11:59 the day that the vote is being done to say we need to do something different when it's essentially too late. So it is always nice to get those questions and input earlier in the process as possible.
Okay, County Commission report?
Yeah, I attended the Shinshin quincentennial celebration for Volga Germans. So that was a week ago Sunday. That was a really good time. They had excellent weather. It was before it rained, but excellent turnout. So I know they ran short on food, and they just had it went all day. It started with a mass in the morning and went till 10, 11 o'clock that night. So it was a good time. And then also update from High Plains Mental Health. We had our meeting. That was our first board meeting post-opening of the new CIC. At this time, they've had a couple of people come through it, learning process, learning the whole new system. They're not fully staffed, but they're staffed fully enough to handle the people that they've had come through. So now it's educational on educating people in the communities on that this resource is there, and then also hospitals and sheriff's departments on utilization of this resource. So That's all I have.
Okay.
I attended a Workforce One board meeting on Friday, kind of an emergency meeting over a couple of issues with a lot of. One is the Workforce One office in Salina is based out of the Salina Mall, and anybody's aware Salina Mall got drenched with rain and roof torn off, so we had to figure out how to get out of that lease and find a different location for the Workforce One there. And then, like a lot of things, the federal and state funding shifts and changes a lot, so we have to kind of work through the programming and budgeting for Workforce One. And at some point, I'd like to have their director come out here and address our commission, just so that way we're a little bit more understanding of what that state organization does for those that are going, layoffs and those kind of things, unemployment. So, and then I want to recognize Ellis girls track. They placed second as a team overall. Lots of individual placers for both Ellis and then Hayes. And then specifically, I'll call out Jace Myers, Darren's son, placed fourth in the pole vault in 5A. So there's lots of placers, but I'll give him a direct shout out. That's all I got.
Okay, I did go attend the new dentistry building, the Liker Smiles, their second one. I did appreciate that at least the building is occupied and generating tax dollars. So, and they had a nice turnout and a tremendous staff. I didn't realize that there was that many, but there's a lot of them. And then also I did meet the one of the owners. I went to the Ashley ribbon cutting. I met one of the owners there and thanked him for keeping our store open here and also employing a lot of individuals. Yeah, so and then I also went to, and that's not quite over yet. I think it'll be the 12th is when Roger Bixman, he had an outstanding thing, and Darren was there when they announced how many people were involved in the years that Roger had been here. They had everybody stand up at the Hayes High Academic Night. Was probably 3/4 to 7/8 of people stood up that had anything to do with Hayes Rec. And then I did also attend the Ellis County Planning and Development meeting, so there'll be some stuff coming to us on that. So also with Mr. Liker's comment on the mental health, Craig talked at our Lions Club meeting, and I had asked him if there was a way, because there was a lot of people interested in going and touring that building, so evidently they didn't get the message that there was a tour going on, but I understand he's got a drone footage that they can, if people want to look at it that way without any being occupied, so that's very good on Craig's part. So that's all I have. No executive sessions? No? Okay. Meeting adjourned at 10:04.
Okay.